Hi, I'm Vicki Hoth, Education Coordinator for Handi Quilter, and I want to show you how to use the couching feet and the fun results that come from it. So let's get started. Before you start using the couching feet, you need to make sure that you mount the conversion kit onto your machine. And then you have 3 different sizes of couching feet. A 3mm, and let me show you the yarn that would go with a 3mm. That size, and you can see the hole. A 2mm, and that would be a little smaller. This one might work with a 2mm, but this is a 1.5mm, and this yarn works actually really good with that size. So the smaller the yarn, or the smaller the ribbon that you use with this, the smaller the hole in the plastic on the hopping foot. Okay, there's a lot of things in the industry that you can use for couching. So we've got some different yarns here. This looks kind of like a chenille. This is a cotton yarn that a lot of people use for making washcloths, but it works great for couching. Here's some with some glitter in it. But I want to show you some fun things that have been done with it. So it was quilted. This is all quilted behind, and then it was couched with a yarn. It's just a gray yarn, and how fun that is, all freehand. Look at this one. Look how shaggy this is, but how even the yarn is so that it will go through the foot. Different yarns out there that you could find. This was done the background with the Pro Stitcher, and then was quilted, or just using the couching feet, and you know, you can actually just draw on it and then follow that line around. Look at this satin. Oh, isn't that beautiful? That's that yarn that I showed you. Let's pull it up and you can see. That's just that yarn, but it has that little glitter running through it, and you've just made a new fabric. Great texture with that. Now, look how fun that is. 2 different applications. The glitter is actually a different application, stitching through that, and it goes right through that foot, and then you use your other yarn to embellish it some more. Here's some more. Fun quilting in the background and using the yarn. Look at this fun texture. Could totally make some fun placemats with this, with that great texture on there. Straight lines. Some more. You can see right here the yarn that was used. Here's some more with a different yarn. This would be you'd use a smaller foot with this because it's a finer yarn. This is ribbon, and that just goes through that hole, and you follow it along, and see how fun that is. Sometimes it catches, which is kind of fun because this is a smaller yarn, so it leaves it just a little bit of a texture with that looseness on there. And then again some more. Let's see. There you go. See all those fun yarns? Now let's show you how to actually use it. Well, now that we've seen some fun ideas. I'm showing today on HQ Sweet 16, but you can do this on your Fusion or your Avante. So it'll work on any of the machines because this conversion kit will go on all of our machines. The one thing too I want to show you is the difference in different yarns. I like this type of a yarn, or this type of the smoothness that this has. This is a yarn that you can see has kind of nubbies as it goes through here, kind of thread gobs. You know, and it's fun yarn, but it's inconsistent. So there's some big, as we go back here, there's some big areas here that may not feed through that eye. So it would get stuck and create issues. So that's the only caution I would have, is some things you need to be careful, some of the yarns you need to be careful with so that it doesn't clog it up right as it goes into the hole. So that's one I probably wouldn't. I already tried it, and it worked great until I got to one of these great big nubby holes there, and then it took a little bit more precaution. So just a warning with that. Now, let's figure out how we're going to thread this, and it has to go through that hole. I have the 3mm one on. So what I do is I'm going to do a needle down, a needle up, and I want to just bring my thread up over here. So I just have it, and I have a hold of it. And now what I'm going to do is I am going to thread that through here, and then just kind of move it over, and you can see how I've, trapped it. And now when I drop the needle and bring it back up, I've actually trapped it right in there and made a loop. Then I can pull that through, and you see how that just pulls through? I'm holding on to these threads, and it pulls through, and then I can pull it, and it flows really nice after that. Now today I've actually put on a different color, contrasting color than the yarn, but that's okay, because with this yarn you probably won't even see it. It's so fluffy and chenille that it will just cover it. Now the most important thing now is I'm just going to start quilting, and I am not going to hold this yarn. It is going to float free, and I need to make sure I have plenty of slack so that it'll do that. This one I can hold, and I'm right here, that's where my bobbin thread came out. So as I start quilting, I want to quilt so that I get shorter stitches, but also that this is free floating and I don't touch it at all. So as I start stitching, that yarn will just follow, and it tacks that down. You can't even see that turquoise yarn because of this heavy or the fluffy yarn, the turquoise thread, because of the fluffy yarn. So think of the possibilities. We were talking the other day about a Santa quilt with his fluffy beard and making some swirls. Now I can tell that my yarn is going to start having some slack, so I need to bring some more down and unwind that so that I don't ever have any tension. My yarn's going to have tension, not slack. I need to have slack. No tension on this. So then as I quilt, it just follows it around. Total thread painting or yarn painting. One of the fun things that we've done is we actually use our Pro Stitcher and let the Pro Stitcher make the design and put this through and create some fun. Okay, so see again, I can see that I have some issues here, and I need to clean this up so that I have total slack there, no tension at all. Okay, I've installed the 1.5 millimeter foot, and I have a finer yarn. So I'm going to go ahead, I've made my stitch. Now I'm going to move that over, go down, and stitch again and up. Then with my thread, I'm going to pull that right through. Pull that right through. There it is. It's coming through. Okay. Now again, release the tension on my yarn. I don't want that, put that on the back of my machine. I just want that to be right with me as I'm using the foot. We'll go back in here, and now it's time to quilt again. No tension at all. So you probably noticed how hard that is to go through there. So that's kind of telling me that that may not be the right size hole. That's too small. See, it's given me resistance. So what I'd like to do is just change out. We're going to go do our needle up, and I'm going to change this foot out and change to just a little larger. So this is a good tip, that if you find that you're having a problem with that yarn going through the hole, then you need to just go to a larger tip. And so we're going to go ahead and change that out and undo everything here. So we've got that all caught up in there. We'll go to that larger one, place that on there, and to place that on and push that up so it's good and snug in there, and it won't screw on unless it's pushed all the way up anyway. Okay, so there, tighten that, make sure it's tight. Now, again, we have to bring that through. Thread our needle, because that thread is very important to have in there. That's how we get that thread down into the hole. So needle down, needle up. Bring up my bobbin thread, both of them together. And now I can go right in there, right back where I was. The yarn goes under there, needle down, and needle up. Now, see, it comes through that hole a little bit better this time. Now as I start stitching, again, you want to have no resistance, no tension, just let that float. And I can totally see how much better that is. So that's a good example on getting the right size hole for what yarn or ribbon that you're using. And with this you can see that it stitches right down the center with that dark thread on there. It stitches right down the center. It anchors every bit of that down. I hope you enjoy using these feet. Make lots of fun quilts or fun decorated items, and happy quilting.